everybody. It is most exciting to speak here as a member of the founding team of Virtuozzo at the time of the most significant technology transformation in the history of humanity, and definitely in my career. We started Virtuozzo at the time of service provider market and internet, and we lived through the cloud transformation, which was very significant, but now we are at the beginning of the AGI transformation, which is coming one way or another, and for sure it is creating a perfect storm conditions for all the jobs and all the business models. Clearly, it is happening in technology. This gentleman on the left, founder of Super.com, pointed out that CTOs of billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, are taking individual contributor roles in Anthropic, Workday, market leader for HR, U.com, one of the early Gen AI companies, Instagram, Box.net, Super.com, and others. Ray Kurzweil was predicting that the way how we're going to place Gen AI and the way how we're going to see that it's coming is that you will see many times growth in the usage of AI, and that's what we observe now. And for sure, the main or easiest to see challenge of AI is that hundreds of millions of workers will be changing their jobs or being replaced. Most affected industry is information technology, and particularly there is so many talks about the fact that software development coding is dead. And in my opinion, coding is dead, but long live the coding. For us, service providers, software as a service companies, entrepreneurs, we are threats are challenges, and challenges are opportunities. But while IT jobs are under attack, and about 75% of what developers do today can be fully made by AI, humans need not only 4 times more code, but they need 1,000,000 times more code. Even the simplest one single species mechanism, like a single human, requires about 1,000,000 times more code to be described, and much larger language models. So the main challenge we have and the main opportunity for all of us in this industry is that hardware seems to be a bottleneck for learning, for inference, and for running the products made with the inference and learning. Over $7 trillion to be spent on data centers. And so one huge change is that there is sprawl of different computing architecture, including completely different architectures such as photonic. Not necessarily it's going to be mainstream before 2030, but there will be photonics accelerators available to purchase from next year. Quantum, another huge area of investment. You can listen about it on the speech by Marie Lepsky, partner of Constructor Capital, the fund which I founded. And definitely there is huge momentum, but broad application of that is 10 years away, but you can still use it for many optimizations. And then probabilistic neuromorphic computers are other computers promising orders of magnitude better power efficiency and performance. Not necessarily that is going to fully address the need for compute driven by AI, even in case all these devices on the previous page will become usable for mainstream workloads and scenarios. There will still be a huge growth needed in the market for manufacturing the components to make those devices. And so we rely on existing semiconductors across all of our needs for data centers, and there is a huge market for semiconductor manufacturing. Outsourced market is probably close to 150 billion, and there is also in-house capacity. All of that together is predominantly owned by, controlled in the next many years by top companies. And so while semiconductor manufacturing is growing 50 to 75% per year, demand for semiconductors outpacing it. Building new fabs is now strategic because it is, again, not only about performance, but it is, and not about economy, not about cost, but it's about capacity, and it's about ability of staying competitive. But to make a new fab takes 4 to 8 years and requires tens of billions of dollars investment. So in the next 5+ years, we're going to live in a huge shortage of hardware and huge prices for hardware. And then another opportunity for the service provider market, which is very, very important, is open source. Open source was the way how the internet challenged the large vendors like Microsoft, IBM, AOL at the time of internet. And it is a friend of AI today. AI can read the source and can extend, customize, integrate the applications which are open source much, much faster. More importantly, can contribute very rapidly to open source middleware, operating systems, and other system software. Anytime there is a rapid technology change, there is an advantage of open source. It can address all the new hardware, new middleware, and new application needs much faster. And in addition to that, open source seems to be the only way how geopolitically fractured world of today can trust each other. There are many regulatory drivers to use open source as a source for sovereign infrastructure. And, of course, the licenses will evolve in open source with Gen AI, but open source is what is going to drive your business up. Also, AI and software development for sure is a huge trend. There will be much more code written. There is a huge surge in software development tools based on AI, not based on AI. Software development application market is growing to from 173 billion this year to about 900 billion in 2030, one of the fastest growth markets in IT. So for sure, there is much more software to be written, but when software is written, it comes with the need to test it. Many more defects are generated: security, reliability defects, performance optimizations, efficiency optimizations, and all of that eats compute, storage, and networking to make the software and subsequently to run the software. And so there are new frameworks like the framework we built with Acronis and Constructor and Virtuozzo called CyberFabric, which we're unveiling today. Please visit cyberfabric.org and see how you can build medium-size and large-size code bases in such way to make it faster while making quality of code very high. And with that, you also need to expect changes in infrastructure software. All of us, of course, provide infrastructure as a service, but infrastructure as a service doesn't come without operating systems anymore, doesn't come without middleware anymore. And while there is a huge change in writing agentic architecture-like systems, these systems are highly compute inefficient. They require next-generation storage, compute, and networking optimized to a maximum performance. You need to watch it. And there are clear examples of how offering the right infrastructure packaged in the right way changes your multiples. Traditional hosters having 5x multiples to their revenue. DigitalOcean today have 17x multiple, and that's because it provides DevOps environment. And from DevOps, you move to AI operations from companies like Nebius, which have 45 times multiple to their infrastructure as a service specialized for AI. Nevertheless, all of this is happening. Still, the major challenge is capacity. And exactly for capacity, you need to optimize your performance and efficiency. And so it is no longer possible to expect that this will be done by hardware. Jensen Huang many times said, Moore's law is dead. You need to co-design your infrastructure, co-design your infrastructure system of top, and fanatically optimize. Virtuozzo was founded and created as idea by me and my partners back in the early 2000s to address the need of a multi-tenant, multi-tier, multi-location infrastructures needed for software as a service. It was inspired by mainframes, but with fanatical focus on efficiency. Mainframes provide highest performance, reliability, and versatility in the world of any hardware, especially for high throughput transactions. As we make our infrastructure very clever, we will have to expect that it works at all time. We will rely on infrastructure for the key decisions. It cannot be delayed and it cannot be limited. Also, such super clever infrastructure is very vulnerable to security, privacy, and has to satisfy very stringent compliant requirements. Again, on IBM mainframes, there is lots and lots of innovation which can be now replicated and recreated in the open source, which make it secure, private, and compliant. And yet you still need to make it more optimal. And most optimal infrastructures for medium and large deployments are hyperconverged infrastructures. And here is an example of Google. And what we really want to enable with Virtuozzo always is that any of our partners with 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 servers in a single location out of 1, 10, 100 locations, and can have a fanatically optimized total cost of ownership. And so now it's possible. We can use Gen AI and all of the accomplishments of open source, take Cyber Fabric and very rapidly structure them into highest quality Virtuozzo infrastructure system. And that by AI created system will be usable with AI for you, will be easy enough. It will be possible to combine all the thousands of features which are needed to be present in competitive to Amazon-like or VMware-enabled infrastructure for a small service provider, and it's optimized for AI. And so we are proud to push forward the new product category, which we call Virtuozzo VIS, Virtuozzo Complete Infrastructure System, consisting of Linux-based, optimized, virtualized, multi-tier, multi-tenant VOS, vOrchestration, vManagement, vAutomation, vProtection. All of this is based on the open source. All of this is fanatically optimized, and all of this combined with Cyber Fabric. Thank you.